Alright, so here's the recap of our code challenge. We did this challenge, which is write code to display all the comments in the how do I card into a text file. What is my problem that I want to solve? I have all these items right here, all this text that I care about. I want to dump it into a text file, right? I want to do it in a way that doesn't take me forever, but I also don't want to copy one line at a time, because if I accidentally miss one line, I have to go back and double check it. Or if I come back tomorrow, someone add a lot more comments, and I have to repeat that process. So let's try to think more like a programmer. Now let's look at a few solutions that you guys came up with. To be honest, if you're more comfortable with JavaScript, this will be the fastest way. Just open this and use JavaScript and parse the content. Ian has a good attempt, however, he did not manage to get all the... Yeah, so you can get the JavaScript with filter. So, for example, if you take a look at this guy, okay guys, this is, it's called, what is the class name here? Action comment, right? And then in here we have current comment. So why is it called current? I'm not really sure. So technically, if you get this, right, you get these guys. So technically, if you look at the first guy, and then you look at the HTML inside it, what is inside here? So, right, this is that. So technically, if you call the first one and then wrap it in jQuery, or you can say inner HTML, you get that. Okay, so with the jQuery way, you can get the first guy. So then if you just do it like this, so Ian has the right idea, this will give you all of that text. So Ian is the first person to get all of this, the fastest. So that was fast, right? The text method. So jQuery, you can do this and it works for the whole array. So that's the fastest. Now, what we want is to do it in Ruby, and the first hint I dropped was JSON. Did anyone think of JSON before I gave the hint? No. So when I give you the hint JSON, right? What did you do next? You Google. But what did you Google? JSON Trello. So to be honest, when you get this solution, what I expect you to Google is Trello export, something like that. Or some of you will be like, I want to write code in Ruby, right? So you're gonna Google like Trello Ruby, and you can come across a Ruby gem, and then you can also make it work that way. However, that is still not fast enough, because when you use a Ruby gem, it requires an API key. When it requires an API key, so technically if you follow this direction, you should be able to get all these objects. So, that could work for your real application. This is not fast enough. So my way was that if I Google Trello export, then I will start to see a few options exporting, all right? And then you discover that there is an option to do JSON export. So you just need to add the word JSON here, or you can go to the card here, and then you find export JSON here. So I'm gonna just take this JSON. So let's do it together now that you know how to do this, okay? First, get the JSON URL. What's the next step? For the first step here, if you don't have it already, download the JSON viewer, which I already asked all of you to download. So it now looks pretty, right? Second, I need to save this file. This is a mistake some of you make. Why are you trying to access this URL? If you go to incognito and access this URL, it's not going to work, right? Because you don't have, again, the username, password, or like access. So This is not a publicly accessible URL, so you want to cheat by saving this file. So I'm going to save it to I create a new folder. So I'm going to call it like code, maybe fun, so I'm going to call this, let's say fun week 9 here, fun 9, okay? So I'm going to here create a new folder. I'm just going to create a folder called again here, and I save it into this again folder. All right. So I save it. One way to make your life easy is you only have one file in here. I'm going to go into this folder. Now you can obviously copy and paste like this, and then just delete the file part. So I'm in this folder right now. Let's go to IRB. Okay. One useful trick is to be able to see what file you have in the IRB. Do all these small steps so you know what you're dealing with. Don't start writing a long Ruby file, especially your Ruby syntax is still not strong yet. Right? So I have this stored in A. Well, technically, I store A as the string. Any questions so far? Then I will try to see if this can read from the file. We good? Now when you see this, it just looks good. I mean, I know that I can read this. That's enough. I leave it there. What do I do next? So I assign this to B that I already read it. Then now I will say C is I'm going to parse the text that I read into C. But for this to work, you need to require JSON first. So C is JSON.parse what? B. So now this is your C. And if you see your C here is huge. So what do you do next? Huh?
C.keys.
Okay, C.keys. Quý, what do you do next? What do you do next? Alright. So you say C dot first?
No.
It's a bit interesting. C, what is C? What's the type of C?
C0. Just get the
C is a hash. So Quý, what should I do next? Okay, so I give you guys a hint that when you have a hash, you can divide it in half by checking for the keys and values. And normally the list of keys, it's smaller, right? So it's easy for you to take a look. That's not enough. If you have an array, just look at the first element.
This is where I have a question. Do we have any way to search this?
That's why. Why do you search in that? Why don't you go here? So that's what you should do next. Go to a place where you can search. Go to a place where it's the easiest to search. You can either search it here or open this file in VS Code and search yourself. And the best way to do it is in the browser right here. So, for example, I know Ian search for, has something called SVG, right? Then I just find this and I find how many comment that has the word SVG. So now I know for sure this structure is a comment. Do you guys understand the thinking flow now? So if you start collapsing this guy, this data thing, right? You see this? This is text. This is data. If you collapse this data, then you realize that it's part of an element. You collapse this guy, and all these guys in the same element. Then what do you discover? These are all under data, and then under actions, right? So that's how you dig deep into this. Then now you go back to ERB, and you look at C.keys. So what should I look into? C actions. So I'm going to assign this to my D, right? Now, what is D? What's the type of D?
array.
D is an array. So when there's an array, then you just want to take a look at one, and everything else will look quite similar. So when I look at this array and it's not too big, that's a good sign. It's not big. So what's next? Full? What should I do next to get the comment? Huh? So this is the first, the second, the third.
So get the D that has comments.
Alright, let's just take the first one.
Because this one doesn't have.
Okay. Take the second one. Take the third one. And what do you notice? So what do I get?
D10.
What is the type of D2? What is the type of an element inside D? It's a hash. So what should I look at? So what should I use? What key should I use? So now you know that in the bonus section you have these two guys as well. So if I know the key, then I go back here and I go into here data. So now is it easier to see? So where is the text? Where? This one doesn't have it? So we need to try something else. D1, D2. So that's a little tricky, right? But if you notice a little closer, then you realize that in this key thing, there's a type. And all the card with the type comment will have a text. Okay? Any questions so far?
Did you, to realize that you need to take a step, did you just like do what I did and you realize like, oh shit, some of them don't have it?
You just
Some-
take the laptop first and use it.
I'm just walking through the brainstorming process.
I was stuck on this for a while. I was confused while I was looking at the hash. I could sworn that I was understanding the hash correctly.
Yeah.
I typed it down.
So absolutely, if you did not go back to the browser and check, it means you get caught too low in the IRB world. Don't assume that when you choose a tool, you're just using that one only. It's like, you know, you're in the kitchen, you try to cook and you pick up this knife and you just using this knife only. Don't forget, you may have a hammer or something elsewhere. Okay? Well, this is just thinking to get us here. It's not enough. So now I know D. I get into this now. So what's next? I get the data and I get the text, right? So it looks like I can get one text. So I need to get all of them. How do I get all the text? Map. Is when, if you want to be a good programmer, stop thinking in index, start thinking in map. So how do I make this map thing work? Always start with this guy, the element, and then just remove the index. Change it to map, change it to one element, and then do this over here. And now you have an array of comments. Now if you want to skip the nil, you can just use the select method. You select all the guys and it's not nil. So Ian discovered a compact method which ignore all the nil guys. So it's a little shorter. So technically, if you have all of this already, then you can write it to a file, right? If I join all of them as this, then I have that. If I print them out, they look like this. So I could just join like this, but I just write it to a file. So file.write my result.text, and I just put this as the content. I press enter, and now this is my result, and my solution is done. Right?
It's 1963.
Oh, it's just after that. This is just the ID number. It's like a file handler. Okay, file handle. All right. So you don't have to worry about it, but it's just a representation of the file. Any question about that? So then you're like, okay, that's cool, but now I cannot show my TAs and instructor how I did that. What did we do so far? We did something that gave us A. We did something that gave us B. We did something that gave us C. Can we try write code? for that? I'm going to write code and stop me if you're not sure about that one. Okay? Be active. Don't be passive and say, oh, I'll figure it out later. Right? Really interrupt me if you're not sure. Okay, I'm going to start. Look, only 2 files so far. Okay? So, let's start. I'm going to call it solution.rb. Okay? Now, let's go in here. What should I do first? I know the file name, so I have A already. So what is it? 18. How do I JSON? What a good name, right? What is the second thing I should do? B is file.read A. What's the third thing I should do? JSON.parse B. We all clear? Before this, you need to require JSON. What is the next thing I should do? D is, now you have C. C, the type of C is a hash. So what are the keys in C that I care about? Actions. Excellent. Okay? And then what else?
And if type, right?
Alright. So in this action now, if you stuck, you're going to start typing. D is an array of actions. We only want actions that are of type comment card. Technically, if you use all of them, that's not a big deal. So this is the extra stuff. E is the.map, but you're not taking map. You're taking select. When you take an array and you want a smaller part of an array, a subset of an array, this is the element, and then you say take all the one with the type comment card. So now you have your E. So now E is an array. So now it is an array of card comments. How do I get the comments out? Comment equal E.map. Okay, so now it's like, okay, E is a bad one here, so I'm going to call it I. And then what? Text. So now I have my comments. And I really want to make sure all of this is correct. So I go and print them out like this. And I'm going to run. Okay. So if I run this, if it works properly, I should see all the comments printed out. Alright. This is life and death situation. Do you think it will work? Huh? Alright, look, we're so lucky. We just write once and it works. Right? So, what is the next challenge I gave you? CSV. And what do you do next when you do that? You're going to Google Ruby, CSV, write to file, right? And then you're going to look at some Stack Overflow article. You're going to scan and then see, okay, does it make sense? Does it make sense to you guys? Require the CSV library. Create the file. Technically, this is just W. It doesn't have to be WB. And then every row, I have the CSV data. Okay? So let's do that. Require CSV. CSV.open file name. Result2.csv. Alright. And this is W. You just learned that when you open with a W flag here, it means it will write to that file. So I have an iterator here, a CSV thing. And now you can display. So CSV, it's one row at a time. Okay? And now, for example, here is the header. You can choose not to have the header, but I'm going to have the header called comment. What should I do next? Huh? Yeah, how do I render the rest of the rows?
Create new lines, CSV.
How do you create a new line? Okay. So this is one comment. How do you give this comment into a row? Huh? COSV. Do you do this?
I tried it, it didn't work.
No, you cannot give it like that, right? This is, each row has to be an array of cells. Remember the Excel? Remember the Excel that we look at over here? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Even if you have 1, you have to put it in an array. Okay? So now if I do this and I finish running, I should have a CSV file with the first row as comment and the rest of the row is in here. Let's try. Run this again. Okay, and I go into the Finder CSV here, comment, and then the rest of the comments are here. Okay. Now next, I want to display the author and the time. So what if I want to display here time and the author of the comment? Now what do I need to do to achieve this?
Actually get the time before that.
Time? So then you think that this comment now has it's too specific. Full, any suggestion? Can you speak louder, please? Can you speak louder? As what? Okay, anyone? Ian? Oh, so I go back to the JSON again?
No.
What should I do? How do I get the time?
Well, we can get the map and just save it as like it's.
Are you guys saying I should do this?
It would work.
And then, so I have times, and then what down here? Lloyd, pay attention to this, right? It's tempting to think of, oh, yeah, but then I can probably do with index. And then this is my index, so now I can have my times I in here. Done. It works. Now, do you love this solution?
No.
You can still save a life, but of course, it works, right? They have the same index.
Why don't you just work with E then?
Why don't we work with E? That's a wonderful comment. Okay, so how do I work with just E?
So just do E.each,
Alright, E.each.
then CSV, shovels,
Cố lên nhá. E.each. So in here I have E.
delete the I,
Okay, like I'm gonna call this a row. So what should I do for this?
make this an array row.
This is not really a row. It's like a I don't know what I should call this. An object. All right. Okay. So what should I do?
Make this an array,
An array. All right.
and an object.
Okay. Object.
Which one you want first? Date.
Date.
And,
Object.
text.
Comment. Now you gotta look at what we did earlier.
Data text.
Guys, what did we do earlier? Look at the keys. Do you see the keys? Member creator, date, type, data. So I'm gonna put this as member creator, right? And in there I can get the full name. And then the third one is
Data text.
data text. Is it good? So instead of E, you might want to call it rows or whatever. It's easier to look. So now I can delete this. I can delete this, delete this. Okay? Well, I mean, I can keep the comments here, but I don't use it, right? So I don't need them anymore. But that's for the earlier assignment. Now this part, I should be able to finish my CV. Should I run it? And I have to make sure that there's no error, huh? Because otherwise it's a little embarrassing. So it's really helped me check.
Oh, yeah, delete them.
Huh?
Do you have to delete the content of previous file?
Delete what?
It just overrides it.
The file, yeah. If you do A here, it will write after the file, but here it will just overwrite. Are you guys ready? I do this, and then when I say open this in Finder, and I look at this guy, that's the result, right? And we see what I ask, okay? So obviously, the ability to get familiar with Ruby code is important here. Now, backtrack to your first 10 minutes, first 20 minutes. What were you doing? You were stuck here. You open a Ruby file, you write code in Ruby, you try to access the JSON from the internet, right? But the fun part is here, you didn't really get to do it. So try to think, oh, where did I get stuck? Oh, the part that was the hardest was this one. Or the part that was hardest was this one, right? Find the data text, understanding the data representation. That's the thinking part. That's the part that we discussed together in your team. That's the part you should go back to the browser and cheat. Just look at the JSON here. Okay? And you can look at the solution. The final solution I did is only 4 lines of code. This is the final solution, guys. So if you can write shorter, then it's even better, yeah? So this is the solution. If you read this now, does it make sense? JSON, load all the comments. Now the comment here are the comment objects. Get the action and only find the comment card action, right? I also say, hey, you could also just only select the one with text. But now, 1 line of code, 2 line of code, 3 line of code. If you want, you can make it even shorter, like this. 4 lines of code. Yeah? Now, here's my question to you guys. Can you make it even shorter without using CSV? I'm gonna try, okay? I delete this one. And I'm not going to use CSV open here. Why can't I just do, I have the rows now, so why can't I just write my CSV string is going to be my rows, okay? I will map it into the CSV, so in each row, you just joining the comma together, no? You just join in the comma together, and then when you have all of these rows, you just join in them as new line. Why are you smiling?
You just remove the word rewind CSV. You get a lot of words. Have you ever saw that?
Yes, I remove a library. There's a lot of code behind that library. And also I want, however, this is not perfect, huh? Just don't assume that I'm gonna just give you a solution. This is a broken solution. So I need you to think about why. Okay, so imagine this. I just do row like this, and I join that. Do you guys understand this going to give me a CSV string? Yes or no? Is it going to be a CSV string? Each row has 3 elements in it. What are the 3 elements? Date, name, and text. So I join them. Do you want to look at the final result one more time to see if it makes sense? Yeah? Look, result2.csv here. Look, this is just title, author, comment. Join them. The next line, join them. We good? The next line, join them. Okay? So does this make sense to you that in each row I just need to join them into a string, and then I just take an array of of all the rows and I join them one line at a time. So is this gonna work?
It's not gonna be a CSV file.
Why not? So now I just do write to result3.csv and this is CSV string.
I have a question.
Yeah?
The file is basically text and from the different program it brings differently, right? But here with just the text editor, can you write in Excel file and you open it in Excel?
Can I write to an Excel file?
Can you add something like PPT and you open it like a PowerPoint?
If you use something like this, are you saying something like this? Is that your question?
You need to rewrite Excel, right? You cannot write directly in the file.
I can write only things that I understand the structure inside. CSV is because it's simple. And I'm explaining when it's simple, we can take a shortcut sometimes. You don't even need CSV library.
The CSV stand for comma separated values.
Exactly. Ian, what is CSV? Yeah, this is CSV is comma separated value. So how do I get comma separated? I join things by comma. Okay, so I need you guys to look at this really strange Ruby code and feel more like it's home.
You don't even have columns now, right?
Are you sure I don't have a column?
Well, you don't.
All right, I'll give you guys an example here. All right, pay attention to this one, okay? Tan, what are you doing? It's okay. You have more interesting things to pay attention to, but I have to remind you anyway. So if A join like this, I have ABC. If I write this, file.write test1.csv and then A.join, I have a CSV file. That's it.
Where's the header now?
That's the header. Where's my test one? That's the header, ABC. Did you guys see the border? That's the header. Sometimes you don't need headers. So if you want this to, you do this one more time instead of A, but look, now I have an array of B, I have 2A in it. So if I just say, I write B, now that's not going to work, right? Now I have to say something similar to above, b.map, and each one is a row, then row.join. And when I do this, I write to test 2. Do you know what the content will be? Like that. And let's look at this guy. Uh-oh, something is wrong. That's not good. So let's fix it. Do you guys see why it's the problem? You forget to separate them into 2 lines, no? So I'm going to write it again. This time, do you guys see that that's a CSV file? There's no magic in a CSV file. CSV is
So
beautiful.
New line means for him new row.
There, new line, new row.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, if I go back to this, now does it make sense that I have the whole CSV string for the whole file?
Yeah, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like for these, specifically for the header on top, you're gonna have to write one row.
I mean, in this case, I could skip the header. It's not the end of the world.
I know, but I'm not like I know there's multiple ways to get to
Here,
it. To me, this
I skip the header here.
okay. But I'm not sure
My question is whether this is still a CSV file.
Yes.
Is it a CSV file? Now you think this look good, right? So let's try to make this code shorter, right? So technically, I could just have everything in one line if I want. Right? Guys, like JSON.parse, so that is my comment, right? So I could actually bring this back to this. Why not? And I select, now I have this whole thing as rows. Then I can do map. So technically I can do dot like this, right? dot, and then dot map. Technically, it's just one really long line. And then dot map again. Right? It has to hurt for us to learn. So let's see actually if it works or not. Yeah. So if I have A is 1, 2, 3, and then I say A dot, and then down enter, map, right? Element E times E, and then I take dot again, map. Maybe E convert to a string like this. Okay, who can guess what the answer, the final result is? And then map, a dot again, map, E multiplied by 2. All right, Oscar, can you guess what the final string is? What's the final result? Golden prize. The final multiply, right? The final multiplication is multiplying a string by 2. Before that, I'm just converting. So 1 becomes 1, 2 becomes 4, 3 becomes 9, and I just do that. I just convert it into a different representation.
That last line, E times 2.
E times 2 just means you take a string like this,
Ah,
multiply
yeah,
by 2.
First, yeah.
Okay, alright guys, so technically I just finished the whole exercise with one line of code. It's just too long, so that's why I put it, So JSON parse, and then I get the actions, and then I select to get something smaller than it, and then I map, and then I map again. So I need to write this, right? So I say file.write results 3.csv with the second argument, which is this, guys. I'm gonna make it slightly less painful for you guys. All right, that's it. One line. So technically, that is one line. Do you like that one line thing or not? Okay, never mind. So okay, 3 lines. If I did not have to require JSON, it would be even faster, right? Huh? Well, if you understand what you're doing, sure. But it also, if you can write code like this, it means you're very sure that it's gonna work. This is functional programming, and it also means it's likely to work, and your friend's not gonna touch it. You can just say, you will get fired if you touch this, and then commit that. Yeah. So, but here I am showing you this to give you ideas of how to become a better programmer, right? How to write shorter, write things more beautiful, and it has to look really clear. Even though it looks really strange, if I ask you to read, you actually can read it. Because why? There's no index. Every time you try to explain it to me with index stuff, oh yeah, like take this index here, the one before it, the one after it, and I will be like, see you tomorrow. Okay? So it's just flowing. The data is flowing. It's flowing. Okay, this is flowing the reverse. This is the result, right? But it's flowing from the file, flow into what we read into a file, and flow into the structure of the JSON, flow into getting only a small part of it, getting into a smaller part of it. All right? Dissecting it into an array and convert it into another array, and then map it and join it. You have the whole JSON. It's not it, by the way. If you do this, there is a small bug. I'm going to run it right now. I'm going to join this as result 3. So do we have result 3 yet? No. All right, let's run this. Ruby solution. Still no error. Wow. We still have no errors ever since we wrote any Ruby code. It's quite good. So where's my file though? Uh-oh.
That's why there's no error.
Oh, I guess there's an error. Guys, help me. Oh, that's not good. We definitely have an error. File write. This one. close like this. I don't like it. Let's close this file. Also the beautiful thing with result 3, result 4, and then I'm gonna say done. Let's see that. It's not printing done. Oh, sorry guys, I'm running the wrong file. So earlier, actually, I showed you the solution in here. Okay, so I'm gonna run this Ruby solution. Ready? Done. You see, troubleshooting takes that carefulness, right? I actually do the most stupid thing, which is just print it out, done. It's just a habit, take really small steps. So I'm gonna go into this folder and look at result 4. Are you ready? I'm gonna drag this file in here for you to see. Does it look good?
Yeah.
CSV, 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 CSV. Does it look good? Are you guys sure it looks good? Are you guys sure it looks good? Let's compare with the original correct CSV. Is it the same? Why not? Almost the same.
It does. It's just the formula.
It's just the top line is different, no? What else is different?
No, it's good. It's date,
What else is different? Here's another thing about being a programmer. It's very important to understand the structure. How many commas do you see in here? This comma is not in my CSV. This comma is not in my CSV. Oscar screwed up our data with his comma in his comment. Do you guys see that? So with this line, this is all one line, by the way. This is one row. How many commas do we have?
a lot.
A lot. So if I view this in Excel, it will look like this. Does it look good? What's wrong?
It takes we separated by comma, so any
Separate
comment
by comma,
with comma.
but this general stuff, anything that is the next line becomes the next row. And then in next row, all the commas now start making sense again down here. So there's something wrong. How can I fix that?
Escape.
Alright, that's the concept of escaping. How do you escape it in here? How do you escape? How does Excel know that this comma is okay? Let's look again, right, at the 2 Excel file. This Excel file, the previous result, this one. It looks really good. Do you see the comma in here? Here, database, comma, code server.
Yeah.
Can someone tell me what you observe? What's going on with this result? How do I fix this?
Can you say something like CSV save?
CSV save? Well, I'm not using the CSV library. The CSV library does that work for me, but I want you to understand what exactly did that library do. It did what I did, joining the items in the same row with a comma, and then joining all the rows with a new line. Fool, you still with us? What's missing? Compare this file. Alright, I'm going to ask you to compare this file and this file. The one on the left is the correct data. The one on the right is the wrong data. Huh?
The one on the left is the correct.
Yeah?
The quotes are missing.
Alright, so Oscar is the first person to see it. Does anyone else see it? Where's the quote?
21.
The comment.
What line?
21.
Line 21? Why do you have to go so far? Alright. Where do you first see the difference? What line?
Actually, all the quotes on the right side doesn't have.
Alright. Where do you see it breaks, guys?
Line 4.
Line 4. That's it. So where does it break?
General.
It's useful to try to understand if the computer is reading through this. Even if you're human, you read this. Okay, 3 cells. 3 cells. 3 cells. Aha. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
And then look at the 4th one. Then you suddenly just have 1 cell. And that's why the computer thinks this is just 1 cell. Now then you're like, okay, if you only have this file to fix, what do you do to fix it? Done? How do you make sure all of this stuff, this whole thing, show up in 1 cell? Alright, so you put the quote around it.
So when you actually access the text, you put the text into quotes.
Here. Yeah, so you add the quote here. And where? And at the end. Okay? So now there's a new line. So I'm just gonna save this, alright? So watch this right here, line 4. You see it? I just fixed it. I just fixed that general stuff. You see all of this now is in 1 line. I could go on and fix again. So that's the secret, right? Now you understand why this works, because this mark over here goes with the one at the end of this line right here. You see this here? And then it starts again. This line over here and over here. Okay? And somewhere down here. At the end here. Alright, let's fix our code. Let's fix our code to make it work. Anyone want to give it a try?
So data text.
Okay?
I think we need to put that into quotes.
Huh? Yeah.
Put it as that will be
Alright, so almost there. So you say this guy.
This guy I want to put into quotes.
So you want to put a hashtag Ruby, so it's like this. Uh-oh. What? How do you do it? It's a lot to learn from this one, isn't it? How do you display a quote inside a quote?
Hash brackets.
So what's that? This?
Hash brackets.
What is a hash? Hash bracket?
And then close bracket.
And then you close this bracket.
And then you surround it by quotes.
And then you surround this by quote. Is that good enough?
And then the quotes on the inside make them single strings.
Huh?
Quotes.
Come again?
The quotes surrounding data and text make them single quotes.
I mean, you see the color, right? It's actually okay, but I'll just make it into single quote anyway. It's the same. Okay, is that enough?
I think so.
Is that enough? What we just did produced exactly the same result as before.
But
No.
we need another quote.
Fuck is good, can produce something else. But we need to do more. Wait, so someone? Done?
Yeah,
So-
another quote.
Oh, so you say add another quote here?
Yeah.
And then how? Look at the color.
Yeah, but close.
So, done. Thankfully, you have one of your TAs still remember syntax. Now, then we have this, right? That is how you escape to have a quote inside a quote. Alright? But that's not good enough. I'm not happy with my TAs. That's still too ugly. Technically, by the way, because the quote is inside the curly braces, you could keep this quote, but then maybe that will make things look really confusing. Then you like, too much quote. So this could work, by the way. It's the same. Alright, guys. We're making progress. I'm going to run this right now. Okay. I'm just going to run this. Done. And I'm going to run and go to result 4. Da 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 da. It works. Okay. Now here's just slightly a different way to use a string. There's a different way to use a string if you want to use quote. It's just you can put anything in here that's a string. Ruby is a bit crazy. Technically, anything with the that is going to be a string anyway. Percentage, and you could be like you could just do any things like that. If you like to use maybe if you like to use this symbol inside, then you do that. And if you like to use this symbol inside, then you're like, okay, maybe I'll just change this outside to this. Then you can have that.
So you can have percentage bracket.
So then down here, I can just do this. Right? It's the most often one, but if you like, maybe change it to this so that it doesn't look too confusing. Actually, I have too many squares inside, so maybe not. So I have this inside the string, and then this down here, no need to escape. And then this will close that string. Are we good? And then this one will close the array, and this one will close the map. And then we have dot map again. Okay? So if I run Ruby solution, everything works again, and everything works beautifully. And
It's still not good enough because the thing has a dash before every line. It's separate.
dash every line.
So it is
So I'm going to open this in an Excel file, okay? This is the Excel file.
it should be like that, right?
This is the Excel. So in Excel actually display it correctly for you. All the new lines are preserved. What I did earlier is that I'm just using preview. This is the look, quick look app. Press space on the file, and you get this. Okay?
Is percentage W regular expression?
Percentage W where? Well, there's that. You may use it quite often. So when you do this, it converts anything separated by space into an array of string. So if you want the fastest way to write an array of string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this, it's so much easier than typing this, right? And I start making mistake already. Okay? Alright, so with that we can all break for lunch. I hope it's a good Ruby refresher. And after lunch, I'm sorry I'm going to torture you with a similar exercise, applying what you know. Just be ready. But I'm just going to leave it at 10 minutes. And that's it. And I'll show you if you really pay attention, you can do it in 1 minute. But if you still need to learn, it's okay. Just take 10 minutes to practice. Enjoy lunch.